Great, welcome back. So we're going to talk about the product and trademark versus business format franchise. Now the product and trademark franchise basically means that you are licensed to sell a certain product and or use like a name. Okay? And of course you pay for that right. Normally what it'll do, it will connect a manufacturer of products to a network of dealers. GM is a great example of this. So General Motors, that is. So General Motors car dealerships are franchises, and because they're selling the GM cars, and also because they get to use the GM name in their promotions and advertising and general product marketing. Now, there's other examples of this that come to mind. You can have agricultural machinery distributors, you can have soft drink bottlers, you can have beer distributorships, because as we mentioned with the earlier video, that's been around in Germany since the 1840s. Again, all you're doing is you're paying for the name. Now I have a special relationship to this product and trademark franchise. I always remember when some of you who watch my videos regularly know this, but I was in the Army before I became a professor. And my first duty station was in Korea. And I had the privilege of living off base because I was an officer, and that particular base had some issues with the base housing, mold and other problems. So I had the privilege of getting to live off base. And I didn't know which realtor to use. Okay? Again, it's in Korea, and of course, they're probably realtors, but everything's written in Korean. I can't read a thing. And so what do? I go into this one location because it says Century 21. I figure, great, it's going to be an American realtor. So I walk in there, and there's this guy named Mr. Kim. And Mr. Kim was the stereotype of Korean mafia, right? He had gold chains, like gold rings on his fingers. He had like hair like that tall, and he had sunglasses on inside. I mean, what more can I say, right? And so I asked Mr. Kim, hey, do you speak English? Of course, he spoke English really well. And I explained that I was looking for a rental and all this good stuff. And he even had contracts written in English and in Korean side by side so that I could understand them and figure out exactly what I was getting for my lease, right? This was what Mr. Kim was able to offer me with Century 21. Now, I don't think he did anything the regular Century 21 way like they do it here in the States. I've never used Century 21, but it just didn't seem, I paid my rent in cash. There was a lot of stuff going on that seemed a little irregular for a real estate agent or a realty office, but I gravitated towards Mr. Kim because I knew what Century 21 was, and I figured I could probably get an English-speaking realtor when I got there, and I was right. Mr. Kim took really good care of me, right? So that's an example, okay, of a product and trademark franchise. Now the other kind is the business format franchise, and that's just like a product and trademark franchise, because you're selling a product, you're using a name and all that good stuff, but you also have to do things the way that the franchisor has designated. And let me give these definitions real quick. You've got two key terms that you need to be aware of. A franchisor and a franchisee. Okay. Make sure you can see it. So you've got franchisor, franchisee. The franchisor is the person who holds the copyright, the trademark, or the product. Okay? The franchise... Oh! I've got a colleague waving at me and scared me. It's not my mother this time, I swear. So, moving on. I've got the franchisor is the person who holds the copyright, the trademark, the patent, all the cards. If you're thinking of McDonald's, right? Ronald McDonald is the franchisor. No, it's actually Ray Kroc. I'm making a joke, just seeing if you're paying attention, okay? The franchisee, on the other hand, is the person who wishes to own a franchise location or arrangement. So let's say whoever's watching this video, wants to open your own McDonald's location. You would be the franchisee purchasing the rights to open a McDonald's from the franchisor. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Can you guys see that? Okay, so the business format franchise means that as a franchisee, you get the product, you get the trademark, but you also have to do things exactly the way that the franchisor dictates that you do it. Okay, you're basically like a perfect little copy or a perfect little clone of the master franchise, okay, or the overarching brand. Let me give an example. Of course, now, these are probably the more popular forms of franchise ownership, again, because it takes some of the thought out, right? You're doing everything their way. If you open your own McDonald's franchise, you are going to buy the hamburgers. You're going to buy the French fries. You're going to buy the McDonald's name. All that stuff that you associate with McDonald's. But what you don't see as a customer is if you look in the back, you are using standardized McDonald's equipment. Okay? You're using their French fryer, and you're going to cook those French fries the exact number of minutes that is specified in a McDonald's manual. You're going to use McDonald's cash register. You're going to do everything the McDonald's way. And the idea is that no matter where you go, you more or less get the same McDonald's experience. That's the business format franchise. You use their accounting, their software, their method for doing things, their products, everything. Okay? Again, it does take a lot of the guesswork out, but of course it also limits your creativity as a franchisee. Okay? I don't know if any of you have Netflix that are watching, but there was an interesting movie called The Founder. It was about Ray Kroc and it had Michael Keaton in it, and I actually thought he did a good job in that movie. But there was a scene that kind of illustrates the point of a business format franchise. He goes to check on one of his McDonald's franchises, and one of his golfing buddies had a location. It seemed like they put 3 pickles on the hamburger instead of 2, and like 1 squirt of mustard versus 2 or something. And I remember Michael Keaton shows the hamburger to his buddy, the golfing buddy, and the guy's like, I don't care. And Michael Keaton, Ray Kroc, threw the hamburger at him and was swearing, and he stormed off and everything because you didn't do it his way. Years ago, I watched an interesting video, and I haven't been able to find that video. I've always wanted to show it to my students, but it's disappeared. Memory serving me correctly, it was about Colonel Sanders. And at the Kentucky Fried Chicken locations, you had to use the exact blend of spices and seasoning that the Colonel dictated, and you had to cook the chicken in the exact way that he wanted it to be cooked in those special pressure cookers. And if you didn't do it the first time, he'd yell and scream, and he'd wave that cane and whack things and knock them over and cause a real ruckus. And if he inspected you a second time and you still didn't do things the way you're supposed to do it, he just took all the stuff away. It was going to be the Colonel's way or no way at all. Okay, so that's the business format franchise. Okay, in our next video, which will be kind of short, we're going to talk about an individual franchise agreement. Great, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, post comments and questions down below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.